Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today for our second virtual college fair for QuestBridge. We are really excited to have admissions representatives from some of our partner colleges here today to talk about their partner college and to allow you to ask your questions as you're researching schools and deciding which schools you want to rank, what order you want to rank, which schools are the right fit for you. My name is Erin. I'm a program associate at QuestBridge, and I'm really excited that we're able to offer this opportunity, especially to students who are applying to QuestBridge and who might not have the opportunity to visit all of our partner colleges in person. I think this is a really great opportunity, and I'm really glad that you're here today to take advantage of it. So today we have 3 admissions representatives with us right now from Pomona, Vanderbilt, and Haverford. Do you guys want to join us? Or sorry, looks like we have someone joining us right now.
Hello.
Ashley, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi all. My name is Ashley Polly, and I'm the Associate Dean of Admissions at Pomona College out in Claremont, California. And I've been involved with QuestBridge for the past 10 years at 2 of the different partner schools.
And hey guys, my name is Ben Gutierrez. I'm an admissions counselor at Vanderbilt University. This is my first year working as kind of a QuestBridge liaison in our office, but I have worked with and worked with those QuestBridge students for 2 years now. And are we talking about territories as well where we recruit, or is that?
Whatever you want to share.
Okay, all right. So in our office, I'm the primary recruiter for students from Central Florida, so anybody in Orlando or Tampa, Florida, and also from San Antonio and Dallas, Texas, if any of you all are from there.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Carly Valenzuela, and I'm an admission counselor at Haverford College. This is the start of my second year, but the first year is the QuestBridge liaison. I was a QuestBridge scholar when I was in high school, so I'm very familiar with the program, and I'm also the coordinator of multicultural recruitment at Haverford.
Okay, great. So to start off, we might have some students on here who haven't, they don't know a lot about your colleges yet. Maybe they've heard of 1 or 2, but they still have a lot of research to do. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your college, your 1-minute spiel of what your colleges are all about? And we actually do have a student question in particular about how large your campuses are and how large the student body is.
Great. I can continue going first. So Pomona College is located in Claremont, California, which is about 35 miles east of downtown Los Angeles. We are a small liberal arts college, so 1,650 students. And this class that just came in this year, about almost 13% of them came in through the QuestBridge program as match students or through our early decision or regular decision programs. We are also part of something called the Claremont Colleges, which is 5 undergraduate liberal arts colleges, which consist of Pomona College, Scripps College, which is also one of the QuestBridge partner schools, Claremont McKenna, Harvey Mudd, and Picture Colleges. That's about a minute.
A little bit less. Did great. And then Vanderbilt University is a private university in about 15 minutes away from downtown Nashville. So essentially we're right in the middle of Nashville, Tennessee. We are a Research One university, a national research university, so that's kind of at the core of a lot of what we do. Our 4 undergraduate colleges that kind of comprise Vanderbilt undergraduate are the College of Arts and Science. We have a School of Engineering, which is kind of our on-campus tech university. We have our Blair School of Music, which is our on-campus conservatory, and we also have our Peabody College of Education and Human Development. And also, just in terms of size, we are a medium-sized university, so we have about 6,800 undergraduates total, and each freshman class rounds out to about 1,600 students.
Great, and so much like Pomona, Haverford College is a small liberal arts college. We're located just outside of Philadelphia, maybe around 20 minutes away. We're 1,200 students, but we still have the feeling of a larger research university, also in a consortium-like setup where you can take classes at Bryn Mawr College, Swarthmore College, and the University of Pennsylvania. So something that I find very distinctive about Haverford is that we have one of the only student-governed honor codes in the country, and it's both academic and social in nature. So the type of student who comes to Haverford is very invested in upholding values like trust, concern, and respect. And the last thing I'll say is that our campus community really values student governance, so we really put a lot of emphasis on giving our students a voice on campus.
Okay. So Carly, I mean, I think you were starting to get into this, but I'd be interested to hear from everyone. Can you describe like the type of student who would be a really good fit for your school? You know, more than just the extracurriculars they do, but the kind of personality and the characteristics that would really be a good fit?
Yeah, of course. So I would say that Haverford students are very invested in their work. They take their work very seriously, but they don't take themselves too seriously. They're incredibly intellectually curious, and they love exploring and learning and trying out different fields. And so that's something I would say as well. But again, they're very invested in ideas like trust, concern, and respect. So I think students who come to Haverford are excited about that honor code. They're excited about all the resources of being close to a city. And in general, I'd say our students also are very interested in exploring around the world. So we were founded by Quakers a long time ago, and we're not Quakerly anymore, but that whole focus on global and social justice is something we care a lot about.
Okay, great. And actually, I'm going to quickly introduce our representatives from Colorado, who I accidentally ejected earlier. But thank you so much for joining us. So we're just like doing introductions about our, about the colleges and what we're all about. Do you guys want to tell us a little bit about Colorado College and yourselves? Oh, we can't hear you right now.
If you go to the little gear up in the top, you might be able to switch your microphone setting.
Now, are you using? If you're using Google Chrome, sometimes if you restart it, the microphone will start working again.
I can go ahead and continue with the.
Go ahead, Benjamin.
Yeah. So so a little bit of a type of student that you'd find at Vanderbilt. As I mentioned, we do have our 4 undergraduate colleges, and the best way that I could describe really our students are those students who are really undecided, those students who are really interested in not just one field but many. And so at Vanderbilt, we do have this idea, we have this academic flexibility where a student, despite maybe applying to the School of Engineering, will still have opportunities to take courses and even do a minor in the Blair School of Music, maybe do a music minor. They might be a history major, but they might still have that passion for computer science that they might want to do on the side. And so despite being and applying into one of our 4 undergraduate colleges, we do offer a lot of opportunities for students to double major, major minor, major and double minor, even across schools. And so I would say that Vanderbilt is for that hopelessly undecided student who is interested in so many academic areas that they don't know what to do with themselves. So I think that that's a really, really neat aspect about a Vanderbilt student.
That's a great description. So for Pomona College, Pomona is located out in Southern California, and I think the spirit of California is really infused into who we are and the types of students we attract. So we absolutely have the same intellectual curiosity that a lot of people are talking about, but California is really that place for people who have an idea and want to see it come to fruition, right? They have something that they're really excited about, intrigued by, and they come out to California much like when people came out for the gold rush to see their dreams come true, to try out new things, to just really explore in new ways. And so we tend to have very entrepreneurial students. We tend to have students who are really risk takers and adventuresome, and are just intrigued by the idea of learning, right? A deep sense of, I am interested in this idea and I want to follow it down a rabbit hole and get excited about it. Even if I'm a physics major, I still want to take a philosophy class just because it intrigues me, because it's something that's exciting. We love it when our classes are filled with students who are in different majors, right? So that they're really engaging across the curriculum and really putting their mind and their energy into lots of different topics. We have some amazing resources that support students, both in internships and in research opportunities, where we give students $4,000 to $5,000 to go anywhere in the world to do research. And so students who are intrigued by having an idea and wanting to follow it wherever it might lead them in the world is something that definitely we are looking for.
Okay. Awesome. So we might have a lot of students online today who are watching because they live far away from your colleges. They aren't able to visit in person, which can be really difficult when you're researching colleges and deciding if you want to attend there for the next 4 years. Do you have any advice for students who might not be able to visit your campus in person about how they can research it, any resources online or other that they should be using?
Yeah, I can I can go ahead and take the lead on that one. So for any student that isn't able to make it out to our campus, we have what is called a virtual tour on our website, which is an opportunity. A student can go on our website. It's right there on our admissions page, and from the comfort of their own home, they can take a tour of our campus. It is all led by student tour guides, so we actually recorded student tour guides in the bottom right-hand corner so that they can actually take you on a tour through the campus, and so you can see a lot of the buildings and just the general campus and what it looks like. So you can do that from the comfort of your own home. Also, all of our admissions counselors, as I mentioned earlier, we have regions that we are in charge of, and so if any students have any questions, they can email us, they can call us. All of our information is on the website, so that would be a great thing to do. In our process, we don't track demonstrated interest, which basically means we track how many times you come to campus, and that factors into your evaluation process. We don't look at that, so if a student can't make it out, it's not really going to affect their process in a negative way, so that's another really good point to note.
We're similar. Yes, we have all of the same things that Vanderbilt was talking about, and we also do not track interest as well. So if the first time that you express interest in Pomona is when you apply, we're very comfortable with that. We also have an amazing Quest Scholars Network, which would be just students who have participated in the QuestBridge program in some capacity and have enrolled at Pomona, or there are low-income students and they kind of want to be a part of that community. In our incoming class, that was over 100 students of the 400 who came in, which is really exciting. And they have a very active Facebook group. They're constantly volunteering to help with different QuestBridge things. They're very interested in providing themselves as resources to low-income students who want to know what it's like to go out and go to college, many of whom are coming from very, very far away to come to Pomona. So that's a great resource as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to repeat everything that Ashley and Benjamin have said. I mean, we definitely have everything that they've mentioned, but another thing, too, is if any of you do have time to schedule an interview with an alum in the area, I do recommend that you do that. There are alums all across the country who will do alumni interviews with you, and they always add some wonderful texture to your file. You can go online and request the alum, but that's just another way to get a perspective on campus that you may not be able to get even from coming to campus. So.
And I'll just throw in that Vanderbilt also does alumni interviews, so and they're regional, so you'll meet with an alum in your area wherever you are.
Yes. And they're optional for us. Are they for you as well, Ben?
Same optional, yeah.
Cool.
Ditto on both of those points for Pomona.
Very similar universities.
Yay!
Great. Okay, and it looks like we do have Colorado College with us. Hopefully sound is working and everything this time. Can you guys test that out real fast?
Hello.
Oh,
yes,
hey.
I can hear you.
Hey.
Okay, I'm so glad you were able to join us today, and so glad that you have students to talk about your experience here at Colorado College. So we've just been doing some introductions about the colleges that are here today, what you're about, how you're different from other partner colleges. So do you guys want to tell us a little bit about Colorado College, for students who might just be hearing about it for the first time?
Yeah. So Colorado College is, like Pomona and Vanderbilt, and I'm not sure who else is on this chat right now, a small liberal arts school, except we're located in Colorado, nestled in the Rocky Mountains. But Colorado College is unique because we're on the block system, which means that we only take one class at a time for 3.5 weeks. So you end up taking around 8 courses a year, just like you would at a normal school, but you take them one at a time, very intensely.
Yeah, and I think CC is also just 2,500 students, so the faculty are only focused on their students. The first classes are, around 27 or so, and just really small classes, class discussions. So the block plan also allows for a lot of ability to just go abroad, to go on field trips, like each block or so. So we stress a lot of experiential learning and discussion-based courses.
Okay. Awesome.
I never knew that about CC. That's great.
Yeah, and I realized that I didn't give you guys an opportunity to introduce yourselves. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourselves before we continue?
Yeah, so my name is Frida. I'm a senior political science major with an English literature minor.
My name's Esther, and I'm a senior independently design major in visual media and social change with a minor in journalism. And
And I'm Jonathan Good. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admission at Colorado College.
Okay. I'm so excited that you all were able to join us today. So another question that the other colleges answered, I think would be really interesting to hear from Colorado is, we're talking a little bit about the type of student who would be a really good fit at Colorado. And beyond just the extracurriculars that you're involved in or things like that, you know, the personality and the characteristics that would make a really good fit.
Yeah. So I guess I can start this off. Usually the kind of student that likes to apply to CC is one that really likes to dive deeply into one subject, which is, of course, why they're attracted to the block plan. You know, you spend 3.5 weeks, 3 hours a day, really getting very immersed in one subject, and so students who apply to CC are often students who know that they learn better focusing on one thing. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you take the class 5 days a week? Is it 5 days a week, 3 hours a day?
Yeah. So I mean, not Saturdays and Sundays, but it's, you know, Monday to Friday, 3 hours in the morning. You might have more class in the afternoon if you're in a science class for lab, but usually that's the schedule.
So there's a lot of time after class to do whatever you want to do, to do extracurriculars, to work, to do your club, but a lot of it is also spent on homework.
Very distinctive.
Yeah, I think the Colorado system is very different than that of many of our partner colleges, which is really interesting when you're researching colleges, and something to look seriously at. Okay, so we are going to jump to a question that a student has submitted, and that is, can you describe the city surrounding your campus, and what's your favorite recreational activity that's in the area? So again, you know, some students might not have the opportunity to visit in person, and they're wondering about the area around campus.
Yeah.
I can jump in and start talking, if that's cool. So, as I mentioned, we're located around 20 minutes west of Philadelphia. So, as you can imagine, there's a lot happening in Philly. We're a quick train ride away. I would say that maybe some recreational activities that students take advantage of. We have a club called Fords Against Boredom, which takes students out to the city on the daily, and we regularly take them to some of the concerts happening in the area. So a recreational trip to Taylor Swift or Kanye West concerts, not too bad. But yeah, those are some of the things students do, just going to Reading Terminal, grabbing a cheesesteak sandwich. Even the surrounding Haverford town area, it's more suburban, but you can, you know, go to the Trader Joe's, you can walk around, go to the movie theaters. There's all sorts of things you would find in like a pretty small sized town, but it's still so close to the city down the street. So.
Yeah, so Vanderbilt University is right in the middle of Nashville, and so Nashville, kind of being Music City, USA, you get a lot of musics. You get, I believe Nashville has the most concerts per capita out of any city in the United States. It's kind of a medium-sized city, but anything you'd want out of a city, that city life, you have it. And we're about 10, 15 minutes driving distance from downtown. It's honestly pretty walkable as well. And we do have some shuttles that oftentimes take students down there. So you can go catch a Tennessee Titans game, a Nashville Predators game. You can go to the Bridgestone Arena and see any of your big name favorite bands. But what people kind of forget sometimes is that Tennessee is also right near the Smoky Mountains. It's right in Appalachia, and so recreationally, if any of you all are interested in hiking or kayaking or climbing or anything like that, Nashville is just a naturally Tennessee is actually just a naturally beautiful state, and so if you like more of the outdoors, it's a really, really neat place. And we get all 4 seasons, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, and I think we want to jump in after that because CC is right in Colorado Springs, and Colorado's known for its nature, known for its hiking. We're right by the beautiful Pikes Peak. Like everywhere we walk, we just see this beautiful mountain.
It's America's mountain. You might have heard of the song "America the Beautiful."
So there are a lot of trails and skiing opportunities in Colorado Springs. I think also Colorado Springs is the 2nd largest city in Colorado after Denver. So really, really great town. We are a 10 to 15 minute walk from downtown, actually. So there's a lot of food and a lot of movies that are right next to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Pomona, we are in Southern California, and we really treat Southern California as our playground, right? So we are about 20 minutes away from the mountains. Unlike Vanderbilt, we do not have 4 seasons. We have 1 season. And so
it's a really nice season.
It's a nice season, yeah. So the average temperature year-round is about 72 degrees. But we do get snow on our mountain that's about 20 minutes away. So 4 to 6 months out of the year, there are options for students to go skiing and snowboarding. We're about an hour and 15 minutes away from the beach, Santa Monica in particular, and then we're about an hour and a half away from the high desert. We have something called Ski Beach Day, where students actually go skiing in the morning and then they go to the beach in the afternoon, which is good. And then we're about 40 minutes away from downtown Los Angeles, right? And literally the entire world is in Los Angeles in a lot of ways. So lots of cultural options, every type of food that you can imagine. I love Ethiopian food, and there's Little Ethiopia, and you can eat there for days. And so that's a really great option. But the actual city of Claremont is 35,000 people. It's a suburb. It's known as the city of trees and PhDs, and it's always ranked as one of the safest cities in the United States. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess all the colleges here today are from very different geographic regions of the U.S. So it's really cool to hear a little bit more about what makes them all unique. Okay, so we have another question. This is a little bit more about on campus and the academic support. And the question is there any pre-professional advising or counseling offered at your colleges? And is there anyone to help guide you with your course or major selection? I'm actually going to add on to this question because I know that all of your colleges offer excellent academic support. So if you can tell us a little bit more about any resources specifically available for low-income or first-generation students, I'd be really interested to hear about that.
I can start. So one thing that we do is that we actually have a Quest mentorship program. So students who come in through QuestBridge or who identify as low income, they have faculty mentors who come around to support them. They meet with them weekly, and beyond just helping them choose classes, it's also just a community of people who help them when it's time for them to go home and make that transition back, or when they're choosing extracurriculars or classes or whatever that might be. It's a fantastic community of people who kind of come around and support them. I know that we all are going to have amazing resources available for students, with both faculty and current students who like to support prospective students.
Yeah, definitely. I agree that we're all going to have our really great resources. I'd say a couple things that Haverford does before classes start. You can apply to be part of our Tri-College Social Justice Institute, where students from underrepresented backgrounds, many Quest scholars, often come join this, but you can engage in thoughtful dialogue and conversations around social justice and coming to elite private colleges for your 4 years. And so you'll have faculty advisors and mentors during this institute, and you can really engage in those types of discussions that you'll want to be thinking about as you go to college. That happens right before classes start of your freshman year, and then you also can join the First Generation College Student Orientation Program for, again, first-gen students if you're wanting to know more about navigating an elite institution and all the things that go into that.
Yeah, so with Vanderbilt, when you come in as a first-year student, even from the summer before that you even step foot on campus, you're going to have an academic advisor, and it's what we call our pre-major advisor. And so we have a wealth of advising opportunities at Vanderbilt. Being a mid-sized university, we do have a lot of personal attention that we give students, and so we have the pre-major advisor, and then once a student gets or declares a major once they're on campus, we have a major advisor. Any one of our pre-professional tracks, we like pre-med, pre-law, pre-business, those are separate advisors as well. So you'll have about 2-3 advisors when you're on campus, but the biggest one is that pre-major advisor. And for any students, low income, middle income, whatever that might be, those pre-major advisors are really helpful in deciding or helping the student pick out courses and anything like that. Another thing that is really neat about Vanderbilt is we have this program called ViewCept, which is a peer mentorship program. It's kind of built into our first-year experience, where basically when students come onto campus, they are going to be assigned to a small group of about 15 other first-year students, and then there's going to be a ViewCepter, and the view is VU, ViewCepter. Anyway, it's kind of like a play on words. We like puns. And so that ViewCept group is going to be this small group that meets with their ViewCepter, which is an older student, and they're going to, throughout the semester, every week, there is about 2 hours in each week where students will engage in meaningful conversations about a wide variety of different things. They'll talk about the first year experience and that adjustment, going from high school to college. And so it's kind of that group that you can fall back on. It's really that tight-knit group within the larger population of Vanderbilt in that first year class. So that's a really neat program.
Cool. Also at CC, we have a program before school starts for first year students called the Bridge Scholars Program. This is a program for first generation students. I'm actually a Bridge Scholars mentor. So basically what happens is you come 2 weeks before class starts and you take a class. You're assigned a peer mentor and you get to know the students, other fellow first generation students coming in. You get really good advice from mentors that continue to mentor you throughout your 4 years in college, and you get to meet professors and you get to have a sense of what the classes are like at CC. And I absolutely love the Bridge Scholars Program. But I think also during the year we have a first year experience program, which is every first year student takes their first class as an FYE, we call it. And so it's 2 blocks where you get a peer advisor as well that helps you with classes, that helps you with any general education, academic issue, and the professors understand that you guys are first year students. And
yeah, it's really meant to orient you to the block plan. You know, not many people come into Colorado College knowing how to take a semester-long class in the space of 3.5 weeks. So this is a 2-block program, so you take it over 2 months. And the professor knows that everyone in the class is first years. They're helping you out, trying to orient you to the block plan. Again, you have that peer mentor that's going to help you out. Your advisor and your professor all are in the same boat and trying to get you as adjusted to CC life as possible. But beyond that, we also have our writing center and our quantitative reasoning center that are really geared towards helping first years kind of get more used to different subjects on the block plan.
Okay, great. So kind of related to academic counseling and advising, we have another student who's asking, what are the primary academic focuses at your schools? And I'm going to expand that because I know that each of your schools probably has excellent programs in a wide variety of fields. But if you can tell us, maybe about some programs that are unique or really kind of stand out as being strong points for your school.
Yeah, I can go ahead and kind of take the lead on that. And so one of our 4 undergraduate colleges at Vanderbilt is the Peabody College of Education and Human Development. And while you might immediately defer maybe just to the education aspects like early education, elementary education, that school actually has a really neat major called Human and Organizational Development. It's our 2nd most popular major on campus, and really it's teaching students more of the people side of organizations and how to more effectively be able to manage and be leaders within those organizations. And so you have a lot of courses like talent management, you have a lot of courses kind of teaching you how to deal with small groups, and there's a lot of quantitative that goes into that. And so for students that want to go into for-profit companies and go work in the business world, that's a really neat thing and a skill set that you would learn for that. But also students, we have a couple of tracks in there for students that maybe want to go for work for nonprofit organizations after graduation, students who want to maybe work for international organizations, really just studying the people side of organizations and how you can run those organizations. And there is a built-in internship component within that program. So it's a really unique major within our Peabody College that I think, 2nd most popular major on campus. That's saying something.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in then. So I know liberal arts colleges, we all have these really awesome, well-rounded educational opportunities for our students, and I'm sure Ashley will talk a lot more about that as well. But a couple unique programs that we have a 4+1 program in engineering. It's the only program of its kind where you can take your 4 years, your undergraduate experience at Haverford and get that liberal arts experience, and then go on to your 5th year and get your master's in engineering with the University of Pennsylvania. So there's that program that's pretty distinctive, and then I would just add on that when you think of liberal arts colleges, I think people often think, oh, it's maybe more of a social sciences, arts, humanities type of place, but art, chemistry, biology, all of our natural science and math areas are incredibly strong, and you have access to equipment that's normally only reserved to students at the graduate level. So students do exceptionally well, and that's why many of them go on to med school.
Yeah. We also have a 4+1 or 3+2 program for pre-engineering at CC, so that's really cool. But I think a great thing about CC is that for science classes, geology is actually a really important major here because we have so much access to nature around us that there are classes that go to Santa Fe, New Mexico for like 2 weeks to study rocks. You know, and so instead of reading about it, you're actually touching the rocks and being there and understanding the rocks, right? And like Haverford, we also are all about a well-rounded liberal arts education, very interdisciplinary learning. And so for me personally, I am an independently designed major. So something really cool about CC is that you can design your own major and make it whatever you want. It basically combines whatever departments you deem important to you, and you're able to really design your own education at CC, which I think is really great.
I'm gonna do I'm just gonna do a quick shameless plug for study abroad opportunities on the block plan at CC. So we have students studying coral reef ecology in Belize, students studying post-World War II reconstruction in Central Europe, students studying Dante and Michelangelo in Florence and Rome, and of course the course that we always talk about every single time we do a presentation, but really almost every single time, is our course on the Odyssey, where students sail the Greek Isles in the path of Odysseus. So it takes an experience that might be a relatively, I don't know, I sort of like the Odyssey, but still a little bit dry, and gives some new life to it.
And I think the important thing about that too, in terms of study abroad here at CC, is that you're doing a lot of the study abroad that we do have. 80% of our students do study abroad. And we're doing it on the block. So we have the year-long programs and we have the semester-long programs, but we also have block-long programs where you're not going to miss all the other classes that you're taking because you're only taking one class at a time. So for instance, one block-long program that I did was studying Islam in Turkey, and that was, amazing, obviously, but you go with a CC professor. So one thing that is kind of difficult, I feel like, about study abroad is that you go and you're not with your school, you're with either a program or, another kind of organization that doesn't necessarily have PhDs as professors, but, on doing study abroad on a block, you do have those Colorado College amazing professors that go with you to teach you the subject.
Yeah, and just one more plug for a department. Our film and media department is actually really awesome on campus. It's a great mix between theory and practice. So you take you take classes all about film theory and things like that, but then you can also take like a basic filmmaking or documentary filmmaking class and make a film in 2 weeks, which is what I did. And there's also a class that goes to Hollywood for a block. So that's the film and media department is also great.
Great.
We're done now.
I'm like learning all these things about Colorado College. That's great. So two majors I want to talk about. First off is our physics and astronomy majors. Like Carly was saying at Haverford, that oftentimes people think of liberal arts colleges and they don't necessarily think sciences. So we opened up a new building this year, and it includes a couple of things. One is a 360-degree planetarium where students can go in and literally see the world in a lot of ways, and the solar system and all of these amazing things. You can literally lay down and just watch the skies, and that's a really cool opportunity. We also have different telescopes so students can see out. So when the lunar eclipse happened, a professor went up and was taking all of these pictures. His work is specifically taking the shine out of the stars, so when they twinkle, he turns that off, so that we can get better pictures of the solar system and of the moon and different things like that. And there's also an outdoor classroom, like a physics playground is what we call it, where it's a really hands-on opportunity for students to engage with some instruments that get them more, get a better understanding of what physics looks like. And then our second one is our public policy analysis major. So we have quite a few interdisciplinary majors, but this one requires students to A, do internships during their time, and then B, it's choosing what you really want to continue studying. So we had a student who loved the K through 12 system, and so she adopted a school district and worked really closely with the superintendent to create some reform in that area. And so that was her entire senior project, was to work with the superintendent on this incredible reform that is continuing even 5 years later after she graduated. So those are a couple options at Pomona.
Awesome. Okay, and we just had another question that was just submitted that I love so much I have to ask it right now. So this question is, who is your favorite professor on your campus? What class do they teach, and what makes them inspiring? So some of you might be more familiar with the classroom than others, but if you have like a favorite class that's been offered or someone that just really stands out in the academic, sphere of campus, can you tell us a little bit more about them?
Yeah, so, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You can go ahead if you want to say. You just
You were excited. You can dive in, and you're a student. So
okay, so I would actually say that the block I'm in right now, this is the professor that I'm, like, honestly just totally in love with. I'm in a public policy making class right now, and my professor is Elizabeth Coggins, who focuses on public opinion's effect on public policy. So I would say the thing that makes her the most amazing is she's so incredibly dedicated to our class. She spends just as much time planning our lessons and trying to make sure that we understand every single bit of the material that she's throwing at us. We're writing a large paper each week in this class, and she gets it back to us within 3 days with like full comments. And if we're not satisfied by the comments, we can sit with her for an hour and talk about it. So I'm just completely in love with her. She is so dedicated to this class that it makes me feel good about how much work that I'm doing. So that's my favorite.
It's hard to narrow down for me. So my favorite classes are probably, there's one class I took called Creativity Theory and Practice, where we literally read about creativity theory, and then in class we just did arts and crafts for like 3 hours. It was just like cathartic.
I kind of want to piggyback off that one because that class really reminded me of my favorite class that I took at Vanderbilt. I wasn't a sociology major, I was actually a psychology major, but this class in sociology was a class that I really, really wanted to take, and it was called Creativity and Innovation in Society. And it was a course where we did study a little bit of creativity theory, and we looked at past case studies of creative people, but we also kind of worked to understand how creativity happens in culture within different people. And it was a really neat class, and the professor of that class, his name was Stephen Tepper, and he is now, I believe, a dean at University of Arizona out in Phoenix, I believe it is located in, or maybe not. Either way, he's a wonderful person. So if he ever sees this, I'll give him here's a shout out. But one of the classes I remember, he told us to randomly show up at one of these buildings where our class wasn't normally held, and we show up, and he actually had 2 people from Second City Improv there. And we basically, as a class, did improv, and for about an hour and 30 minutes, we did improv, and it was really relevant to the class because it was, how creativity happens on the spot, and different connections that you can make, and just really thinking on your feet. And it was really neat that he reached out to these people from Second City, brought them to campus just to meet with his class. So I think, Stephen, if you see this, giving you a shout out.
That's awesome.
Really, really cool class.
To acknowledge fantastic faculty. So mine would be, I didn't actually graduate from Pomona. I graduated from Scripps College next door. But I took a class at Pomona from an English professor. Her name is Valerie Thomas. And it was a Toni Morrison senior seminar. And I actually took it as a first year. And every single week we had to read a different Toni Morrison book. And the professor just knew, it was a small discussion classroom, right? And I'd come from a large public high school, so I was not used to the idea of sitting at like a large circular table where your professor sits down next to you and there's like 10 students in the class. But the opportunity to just dive into a topic, like I adore Toni Morrison, and I'd read a lot of her books in high school, but having that experience of getting to dive in much deeper and bringing in sources that were outside of just English. So we were talking about like social sciences and all of these different things, and then comparing and contrasting books across time and how Toni Morrison has evolved and the impact that she's had on like the country, people, and it's just an amazing opportunity to delve much deeper into an English major. And I wasn't an English major, I did music and psychology, but it was a great opportunity to just kind of nerd out on my favorite author. So that was good.
Cool. So I guess I'm going to talk about Anita Isaacs, who's a professor in the political science department. Every year she teaches a course on Guatemalan politics. She's a leading scholar on Guatemala and a lot of the history that has gone on in the country, especially related to genocide. And so she teaches this course to about 10 students each year, and then those students actually go to Guatemala during one of their breaks, and they can speak with different witnesses from that time period that they've been studying in the classroom, and they can really see what it was that they were learning over the course of a semester. So I think for me that class really illustrates how students are encouraged to think about how their education has a meaningful impact on the outside world, and they're really able to take their education beyond the walls of a traditional classroom.
That's great.
Great. This is making me wish I were back in college taking classes right now. Okay. So again, kind of, on this topic of academics, but, in the different extracurricular activities that can enhance your academic experience at college, we have a question about, like, what student life is like at your college, extracurricular activities. The student's also asking about different demographics of your college. So anything kind of related to student life and extracurricular activities. And I know
that, just generally describing how it's different from high school, because I think that could be helpful.
yeah. And I also know that there are so many activities available, so it can be hard to even know where to begin talking.
Yeah. I'll kind of set a nice layer for everyone else to jump off of. But so in high school, for a lot of people, you're used to going to school the entire day, right? It might be like 7:45 to 3:45, or some people go 8 to 5, or like that is your most of your day is spent sitting in a classroom. And I think what's amazing about college is that you have these intense bursts of being academic and these incredible intellectual opportunities. So like at Pomona, if you spend 3 hours a week in a class, and that will be on a Monday and a Wednesday. And you'll split it between like 1 hour and a half on a Monday and then an hour and a half on Wednesday, and then you kind of swap in and out for the school year. So I know when I first got to college, I'm like, what are people supposed to do with all of this free time? And the answer is study, but it's also just, you engage in the community in very, very different ways, right? So you might not have any morning classes, and so how you engage with your local community might look very different than if you don't have classes on Friday, or whatever that might look like. So that's just the baseline, so you kind of have an understanding of how college is different from high school. And then I'll talk about Pomona later, but someone else can go first.
Sure. So yeah, I'll just kind of generally talk about how our student body kind of breaks down just in terms of demographics. And so at Vanderbilt, since we are a national university, we do have students from all over the country. I believe we have a student from all 50 of our states. We do have a student from Wyoming. I believe it's just one, and Alaska, we have one. So we have students from all 50 states. Also, 7% of our students are international students as well. About 35% or so of our students declare themselves as minority students at Vanderbilt. We're about 1/3 conservative, 1/3 liberal, and 1/3 moderate in terms of political opinions. So any political science students at Vanderbilt are going to be in for some healthy debates. We have students from about 66 multicultural and religious groups represented on our campus as well, and a lot of student organizations for those students to really feel at home. And so it's a very diverse campus, which is really neat. And because of that, we also have a lot of students that are interested in a lot of really neat things. For that reason, we have about 530 student organizations that students can take advantage of, which is really nice. Just a fun fact about us, for the past 2 years, we've been ranked as having the #1 happiest students in the country, which is really neat, and I felt like that was a really good place to throw it in. Humble brag. And being a former alum myself, that's my favorite rank that I've ever seen that's been given to Vanderbilt, and that means every rank. So I mean, it really was a neat thing seeing that, and it's really, I feel like, reflective of the time I had at Vanderbilt. It's a really, really neat place to be.
Yeah, and I'll just say, like, I think at all of our schools, our statistics are probably pretty comparable in terms of, like, we really value students coming from all different walks of life, different countries, different states, different backgrounds, socioeconomically, ethnically. So that's all very important, I think, to all of our communities. I would say we also really value clubs, and we don't have any classes between the hours of 4 and 7 o'clock, so students never feel like they have to choose a sport or a club or sitting on a committee or doing something that they're passionate about. They never have to choose between one of those things and a class that they really want to take. So as I mentioned before, I think our students have that really nice balance of their academic and then their other social lives. So I think if anything, you're going to find you have more difficulty deciding what to do because there are too many options rather than, oh, there's nothing to do.
Yeah, I guess one thing that I would say for Colorado College is, everybody here is on the same schedule. So we all have class from 9 till noon, Monday through Friday. And then those hours in the afternoon are really spent, the activities are varied as our student body is. So, you could do anything from taking craft classes to attending student government meetings, to filming a project, or studying, anything like that. So I mean, I think everyone here has done a good job of explaining what it's like to be doing multiple things on a college campus. But yeah, here at CC we do have a little bit of a different schedule, so it is very, everybody's kind of doing things at the same time.
Yeah, and I think what stands out to me about CC is that the student body is really collaborative. Where there isn't, I don't really feel as a student any tension for competition or like, oh, I'm going to get over you, I'm going to get the best grades, but it really is like this community of students who are in it to help each other and are really socially conscious, and I think that's what stands out to me about CC student body.
Mm-hmm.
So Pomona College is similar in a lot of ways. We are particularly proud of the fact that the incoming class is our most diverse class in the college's history. So just over 48% of our incoming first years identify as students of color, which means almost 1 in 2 students on campus are students of color in our first year class, and that's amazing. That's something that we really want a school that's situated in Southern California to not only look like Southern California but also the world, and so that's something that we're really proud of. About 13% of our students are also international students, and we consider any students who apply from a U.S. high school, we consider them domestic students in our applicant pool. So any undocumented students or documented status students, you're considered domestic, and so we read you under our need lines and 100% needs met policy, which is a really exciting kind of opportunity for us to continue to diversify and really support students from lots of different communities. In terms of social life, much like everyone else, students have a great social life on campus. The 5 colleges also provide a lot of opportunity there, so you're invited to anything that's happening at any of the other 4 colleges. At Pomona alone last year, we had 2,800 different activities that happened on campus, and so then multiply that by 5 for 5,500 students, and those are all of the events that are available for students to be engaged in. So lots of things going on in college, which is great.
Great. And very related to this last question, someone is asking, clubs and classes aside, what kinds of events does your college hold that give students a chance to meet their peers? So, different events are going on after hours on campus, and I would add to that and say, has there been one event this past year, that's been a standout, like your favorite thing that happened on campus that you'd like to share a little bit more about?
Can I do one?
Yeah, go for it.
I have an obsession with zombies, which seems a little strange, but we have something across the 5 colleges which is called Humans versus Zombies, and literally for a few days out of the week, people can go and you either have to put on a wristband that says that you are a human or you're a zombie, and they're walking around with like Nerf guns, and you can be hit and you can die, you can regenerate if you're a zombie. Like there's so many, it's such an interesting thing. Students get involved, staff and faculty are involved as well. Classrooms are a safe zone, but everywhere else is pretty much, it's a game on. And so it's really fun. You'll suddenly just see a huge group of people sprinting across campus, and you know that they're like on the warpath to go and find a zombie, which is fun. That's mine.
That's great.
At CC, we have block breaks. So after each class, so you've been through 3.5 weeks of intensity, you get 4 days to just chill, to relax. And so a lot of students go out, go hiking, go camping, backpacking. But the students who stay here, we actually have events and activities for students to do here. So There are a lot of events that take you to the zoo or to the aquarium or to Boulder. So with the Bridge Scholars program this last block, we took people to Boulder and had like a little reunion with everyone to check in on how they were doing for their first block. And I think besides the block break, my favorite event this year, which, so CC is really good about, one, giving free food. But besides that, there's also a laser tag on the field, right? And so that was like really
awesome.
so yeah.
No, I think that's probably maybe the best one out of the past couple of weeks that we've had.
That's awesome.
Yes. So I can talk specifically about the first year experience, which is kind of like the time when, you know, students are getting adjusted to college, where finding those opportunities on the weekends is really, you know, crucial, and you need to find those opportunities. And I can't really talk about the first year experience at Vanderbilt without talking about our Commons, which is essentially our living, learning community. Basically, what the Commons consists of is 10 houses or dormitories, and every one of our 1,600 students will be randomly assigned into one of those 10 houses. Each house competes against each other in what is called the Commons Cup, which is a cup where you compete for points against students in all the other houses. Basically, your houses compete in academics, athletics, community service hours logged, energy conservation, and at the end of the year, there is a big Commons Cup ceremony with the house with the most points wins a trophy. We also have faculty heads of houses, which are faculty members that live in each of the houses. Since there is that competition, there are always intramural events, there are always community service events during the weekends where students can rack up points for their house. If it's starting to sound like Hogwarts, wait for this bit. We also had a Yule Ball one year during the winter, which was a really neat event. It was kind of like we have a big commons center, which is kind of the dining center right in the middle of the commons. It's all right on campus, and it's really neat that all of our 1,600 students, whether they're international students, whether they're athletes, whether they're art students or music majors or chemistry or engineering majors, they are all living in this part of campus. And so it's a really neat opportunity for first-year students not to just study together, but also live together in one area. And that is kind of the gel or common experience that really carries on for the remaining 3 years. So during your first year, you can go to events that a lot of the student organizations put on, but even built into the first-year experience, there are a lot of events around the commons. It's not just a place where you live, it's actually an experience. And so it's really, really a neat time, your first year, where you can just get to know people.
Great. So I'm sorry, everyone. I feel like my internet's starting to cut out a little bit, but
oh no.
Commons sounds very similar to the customs program at Haverford. When you come to Haverford, you're placed into one custom group composed of maybe around 15 to 20 other first years you'll be living and learning with throughout that first year. So you're actually becoming accustomed to campus. And during your time in that customs group, you're also assigned to a group of upperclassmen who are going to be guiding you along the way and sort of mentoring you. A few of them will be living with you as well, but around 60% of upperclassmen are involved in this first year experience, which is really awesome. So you're not just going to be getting to know those first years, you're really going to be getting to know the whole campus community, and you're going to have dorm Olympics as well throughout the year and during that first week before classes, and it gets very competitive and there's face paint and it's very messy, but it's a fun time. And I'd say in terms of a specific favorite event that I have, just this last spring they held an Iron Chef competition where we had different professors who were the judges, and the students were on teams and made food for the professors, and the professors were judging and rewarded the prize to everybody. But yeah, I think that's probably one of my favorite events, but maybe it's just because I like the Food Network. I don't know.
Okay. And then we have another question here about the Quest Scholars Network in particular, and that's what kind of opportunities do Quest Scholars have at your colleges, and how large is the Quest Scholar population? I'm going to expand that question to be more, can you tell us about the Quest Scholars Network at your college? And I also have a lot of knowledge about the Quest Scholars Network at all the colleges, so if you need me to fill in any gaps, just let me know. But yeah, just, you know, like, what is it like for Quest Scholars to be part of that community at your colleges?
So we have about 90 or so students this year. We're just our second cohort of CC Quest Scholars. So there's definitely a strong sense of community. I think they meet like at least once a block or so just to check in and to sort of maintain that great sense of community that they have. They also do a couple of different outings. They also are involved in a lot of stuff related to admission because I have no idea how that would have happened, but it just did. So we involved in a lot of our different recruitment of students and events and all of that good stuff. So I would say there's definitely a strong sense of community and a lot to do, and some folks that are hyper involved, some folks that are like tangentially involved. We accept all levels of them, basically. Oh,
And I would also have to give Colorado a shout out because as your first ever year of being a chapter, the chapter won our National Quest Day selfie contest, which is pretty impressive for the first year of being a chapter. So, well done.
Yeah. And actually, one quick note, I just wanted to thank Esther. Esther has to disappear because she has to do an interview right now.
Okay. But it was great talking to you guys. Alrighty. See you later.
See you.
Bye.
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 Okay.
I can go next. So our Quest Scholars Network is one of our largest and most active groups on campus, which is super exciting. As I said before, this incoming class, almost 13% of them identify as QuestBridge students in some capacity, which is very exciting. So we do a few things. First off, we have a mentorship program both with students and then also with our faculty. So we have faculty who are committed to providing opportunities to low-income students and helping them through the entire four-year process. And so you have a faculty advisor who's going to be a part of that as your mentor, and then there's a student mentoring program where we have like a head mentor who oversees like a group of mentors who all have mentees, right? And there's over 100 students who requested a mentor through that program because they identified as low-income students. They do tons of things. They have programs almost every weekend. This last weekend, the founders of QuestBridge came and spoke at Pomona, and then a bunch of QuestBridge students actually went out into the mountains and they did a retreat away to kind of plan out the year. This is actually Pomona's 10th year with the QuestBridge program, so we have like a lot of just roots in the community. And I think it's very fair to say, I think our entire community would say that QuestBridge has really changed Pomona for the better. It's made us much more aware of low-income students and access opportunities. We have changed some of our policies in order to be a more accessible place for students on campus, and our entire student affairs staff and our mission staff really stand behind the students and all of the things that they want to do in ways that we can be a more accessible community. So it's a good chapter.
And I just want to echo all those facts. Students at Vanderbilt who have, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of those support systems from the faculty and the advisors and things like that. We see students getting very, very involved in a lot of different organizations. Notably, one of them are Multicultural Leadership Council. They get involved with that organization as well as some of the partner organizations within our school, such as the Black Student Alliance, Association of Hispanic Students, things like that. All those organizations students do get involved in, and so we see those students as students that are always going to be making impacts on campus and whatever that might be, and even off campus. Since we're in a big city like Nashville, there are a lot of things in Nashville that students want to, they want to get involved with service efforts. They want to get involved with our Office of Active Citizenship and Service. So we see those students, as a community, on campus really getting involved with not just service but a lot of other efforts as well outside of that.
Yeah, and I don't want to be too repetitive. I agree with everything everyone said, especially Ashley saying that QuestBridge coming to Haverford has really changed the campus community for the better and really fostered a lot of conversations around social justice and thinking more about access and equity in higher education. I work with Quest Scholars every day in my job as an admission counselor and doing multicultural recruitment. They are hosting our Students First Spring Accepted Students programs. They are inviting professors and faculty and different administrators to their weekly meetings, and they're holding regular dinners and having brunches and really supporting one another through their 4 years. And that's been probably one of the most rewarding parts of my career in admissions, really seeing them grow, because especially due to my connection to QuestBridge myself, having gone through the program. So it's very dynamic, very active community.
Yeah, it's really cool that we have a QuestBridge, very own QuestBridge student here. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think one of the biggest benefits of applying to college through QuestBridge is having the Quest Scholars Network on the other side. I think it's really cool and really unique to our program. Okay, so we just have a couple seconds left here, but I have one final question for you guys. Some students are still researching colleges, trying to figure out where they should go. If a student were not to attend your school, what would be the biggest thing that they would be missing out on?
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh.
That was not
I have
That's a tough question for all.
I've never been asked that question in all of my years in admission. That's, okay.
We got asked it yesterday on our last college fair, and I thought it was a really good question. The one thing that you would like really miss out on.
Oh, well, I don't know. Having been a student at Vanderbilt, I just feel like you'd be missing out on being part of like a really big family, and that's going to be kind of like a I guess all of y'all can probably agree being if you're working at your alma mater. But I mean, I just feel like that sense of community, starting on the Commons, really having that sense of oneness from the moment you step foot on campus to the moment you graduate. There's actually a really neat tradition that we have called Founders Walk, which all of our first-year students walk from the Commons to Alumni Lawn, which is a separate lawn on campus, and they listen to the chancellor and the provost and the student body president all welcome them to Vanderbilt. This is in the second day that they're on campus, and the entire pathway is lined with upperclassmen just cheering them on with banners and signs. It's a really nice way of kind of beginning your time at Vanderbilt. And that lawn, the only other time when the chancellor and all those people talk to students is when the students graduate on that same lawn. So it's a really, really tight-knit sense of community and a really kind of family-type feel, and I feel like that would be something they'd be missing.
I'm gonna go for it.
Kylie.
I have to go because I have to go to a fair. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to go to actually another fair. I'm on the road for everyone that doesn't. So I got it, and also my car. Hopefully it wasn't towed, but I'll let you guys know. But thank you all for having me. Thank you all.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Thanks so much for joining.
Not a problem.
Okay, I'm gonna go for it real quick, everyone. So in addition to what Benjamin said about being part of that close-knit community, because I really do think that our community is an amazing place, I'd also add that at Haverford, you really have a chance to take ownership of your education and utilize that voice. And every single thing about our campus is done by consensus because we want to make sure students can feel like they are in charge of what it is that they're learning and what it is that they're doing. And I've never seen a place do that before. I didn't even go to Haverford myself, and I came to Haverford and really saw students speaking up and seeing what's on their mind and being able to explore and being able to take advantage of their 4 years and feel like they're colleagues with their professors because of that honor code. And I've never seen students so trusted or so valued as individuals and thinking about ways that they can contribute to the larger community. So you'll miss out on that.
I would say for Pomona, a lot of the things I think, echoing that kind of care that everyone else has been talking about, I would say the community, and beyond just the community of students, I think the community of both faculty and staff. Again, I didn't go to Pomona, but I am amazed by how much staff are willing to listen to students and to take their concerns about their experience into consideration in trying to make this a better place for students from all walks of life, right? And so whether that be international students, whether that might be our undocumented or DACA status students, our low-income students, whoever that might be, trying to make Pomona into a place that really fits them, a place that could be safe, a place that could be somewhere that they can call home and that they're proud to have graduated from. So I end up in so many meetings with faculty and staff and students who all have that caring about the community really deeply ingrained into who we are and who we want Pomona to be. So I think that's what I think people would be missing if they weren't at Pomona.
Well, I'm gonna go with the cliche answer and say they'd be missing out on the block plan. So that opportunity for them to deeply immerse themselves in one academic subject and see like how much they really can learn of that thing they love or that thing they absolutely hate and can't stand if they spend like 3.5 weeks devoted being a philosopher or a mathematician or a geologist or a filmmaker, whatever it may be. That and the Rocky Mountains, they're pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, just to add on to that, I mean, I really do think that the block plan is something that, you know, everyone should experience, being able to completely immerse themselves in one subject in their lifetime. And, you know, I gotta say, I wasn't too excited to take my lab credit because I'm not very good at science, but I took geology here, and because it was on the block plan and because it was the only thing that I was doing for 1 month, I came out of that class and I thought to myself, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake. I shouldn't be a political science major. I need to be a historical geologist. And I don't think that that would have happened if I hadn't been on the block plan. And you know, it's that whole idea that, you know, if you're committed to a subject, you should be able to spend 100% of your time thinking about it, experiencing it if you want to. And I think that you know, I'm incredibly happy that I went here. I would never think about transferring, you know, and so, you know, missing out on the block plan is kind of a big deal.
Great. Okay, well, I feel like I learned a lot today about all your colleges. So we're going to wrap up now. And for joining us today to hear more about our partner colleges. You know, you do have more time before rankings are due to research the colleges, so I'd encourage you to take full opportunity of that time to reach out to people at the colleges, admissions officers at the colleges, to learn more about the colleges that you're considering. So thanks everyone for joining us for this, our second college fair ever, and best of luck with researching colleges.